And there's a number of contributing factors to that, but the main one, as we're hearing time and again from other events organisers in Bristol, is unfortunately the approach of the council towards events organisers, which has been very, very challenging for a number of us. And although we've been very lucky to enjoy these really rock solid support of the vegan community, which is almost unique in many respects for events of this nature to have such a solid support. We've been very lucky with that. We've been very lucky with our...
But what was the problem with the council? Because we're hearing that it's through negotiation that these prices are going to have to rise. You must have expected that prices...
Well, the issue for us is there wasn't any negotiation. There was no negotiation. And unfortunately there still isn't, despite indications that, well, clear admissions that that was a mistake, that the council department had made a mistake by saying it was non-negotiable twice in writing, once in front of 12 people in a meeting. And indeed the council chair, the leader of the culture, head of culture, has in a meeting acknowledged that that was a mistake and that it always was negotiable. I've since attempted to negotiate and unfortunately we're not seeing any negotiations, so we're sort of at a stalemate there.
What are you feeling is coming back from the council then? This is Festival City. This is a city that's renowned throughout the country for its festivals. And yet it seems to me that you're suggesting that there might be blockages when it comes to discussing with the council to make these events happen. Is that fair?
Well, there's definitely a question mark, to be honest. There's questions about this department because I've certainly myself have had very little cooperation at all. I found it very, very challenging. Not a business-like solution. Assumptions made, evidence-based ignored.
Based on the size of the event?
All sorts, more than once. And to be fair, sometimes these have been acknowledged, but there seems to be a lack of any desire to do anything about it. My concern is that these mistakes will be replicated and are being replicated, and we're going to see, more events leave Bristol and less events come to Bristol.
Well, when you say mistakes, I mean, in clear-cut monetary terms, you were paying, what, £3,000?
We had a rent agreed
to the council
that had gone up a little bit over the years, and as I've acknowledged before, that was a very good rent.
And that was being asked to go up to
9,000.
Over
9,000.
Over 9,000, 3 times as much.
Yeah.
For you to stage the event next year.
But that wasn't just that, there was a number of other financial implications too, including the cancellation of our Friday night, which had quite big cash implications on us. Again, poor communication from the council department had said that there'd been a change in regulations, but we weren't informed. I did challenge this and ask them to resend the email, but I was informed that it was probably ended up in my junk folder.
Okay, well, but having said for an event like that, you perhaps get on the phone, but they're charging a running fee of, say, between £1,500 to nearly £5,000 for small to medium events, but the larger events, apparently from the council, they say that's negotiable. That's for the organisers to sit down with the council or that culture department and work it out. Has that not happened?
That's not happened. I got it in email, non-negotiable several times, and unfortunately my meetings with Laura Pye, the head of culture, although she's I don't question her integrity or anything at all, she's a very polite person, but we're not getting any movement. And although there's some acknowledgement and acceptance mistakes have been made, it seems to be that we're expected to pay for those mistakes.
When you see things like the front page news, the balloon fiesta running into problems, shall we say, with the communication as well and with the rising costs. We hear from Pride with Darren Carter on this programme 2 weeks ago suggesting he didn't know where he was financially. What is it saying about the organisation from Bristol City Council's end of these types of events in the city?
It must be saying they're not listening because there's these people. I mean, Don Cameron is a legend. He's making almost exactly word for word what I said 6 weeks ago. Darren from Pride has pulled off an incredible event, and I'm so proud to be part of Bristol, live in a city that is so, so celebrates its diversity, and he's really had to battle for that, and to get that sort of reaction from the council to go into an event where you don't actually know the bill, that's not supportive, and that's a question mark that needs answering.
What do you do next? Will you stay looking at council sites or will you maybe be looking elsewhere?
Okay, well, we can't work with this council and we can't recommend that anybody else does. Good luck to those that can, But we're actually looking at, private option. And the good news is for VegFest is that there's a potential for a return to the city with VegFest, if not next year, then in 2019.
So you're actually in negotiations?
We're negotiating, and I've got to say that the people we're negotiating
with a private site?
Private site, can't say any more except to say that it's chalk and cheese. Vegan cheese, obviously, but the people we're negotiating with are business people with a huge respect. And they're treating us so well. We're looking to find solutions. We're working together. We haven't signed a contract yet. If and when we do, it'll be superb news.